When silence is the answer, trusting God during seasons of waiting. Have you ever found yourself crying out to God day after day, week after week, perhaps even year after year, only to be met with what feels like complete silence? You pray with all your heart, you ask, you seek, you knock, yet the heavens seem closed. The answer you desperately need never arrives. The breakthrough remains distant. The door stays shut. And in those moments, it is easy to wonder if God has forgotten you. It is easy to question whether your prayers are reaching Him at all. The silence can feel heavy, overwhelming, and deeply personal. It can feel less like preparation and more like abandonment. But what if the silence is not proof that God is absent? What if the silence is evidence that God is working in ways you cannot yet see? Many of us believe that faith grows during the moments when prayers are answered quickly. We celebrate the miracles, the breakthroughs, and the victories. Yet some of the strongest faith is not formed in the moments of immediate answers. It is forged in the waiting. It is built in the long stretches of uncertainty, where we have no choice but to trust God without seeing the outcome. The desert seasons of life are not comfortable places. They expose our fears, our doubts, and our impatience. They reveal how much we depend on visible signs instead of trusting the one who holds our future. But throughout Scripture, God often did His greatest work in seasons of waiting. Think about Abraham, who waited years for the promise of a son.
Think about Joseph, who spent years in prison before stepping into his destiny. Think about David, who was anointed king yet spent years hiding in caves before sitting on the throne.
Think about Jesus Himself, who spent 40 days in the wilderness before beginning His ministry. In every story, there was a period of silence. There was a period when the promise seemed delayed, yet every delay had a purpose. Every season of waiting was preparing them for something greater than they could imagine.
The truth is that God is often doing His deepest work beneath the surface.
Just as a seed develops unseen beneath the soil before it breaks through the ground, God is working in places your eyes cannot reach. While you are waiting for Him to change your circumstances, He may be changing your heart.
While you are praying for an open door, He may be preparing you to walk through it.
While you are asking for immediate answers, He may be building strength, wisdom, patience, and character that will sustain you when the blessing finally arrives. The waiting season challenges us because it forces us to release control. We naturally want timelines, we want explanations, we want certainty. We want God to reveal every detail of His plan before we take the next step. Yet faith has never been about having all the answers. Faith is choosing to trust God when the answers have not yet arrived. Faith is believing that His silence does not mean His absence. Faith is continuing to walk forward even when the road ahead is hidden in fog. Sometimes God's silence is actually His protection. There are doors we desperately want opened that would ultimately lead us away from His best. There are opportunities we think we need that would only bring unnecessary pain. There are blessings we are asking for before we are ready to handle them. In His infinite wisdom, God sees what we cannot see. He knows what is ahead. He understands the timing of every season. What feels like a delay to us may actually be divine protection. What feels like rejection may actually be redirection towards something far better. In the middle of the waiting, God invites us into a different kind of relationship with Him. Instead of constantly focusing on the answer, He calls us to focus on His presence. Instead of measuring His faithfulness by what we receive, He teaches us to recognize His faithfulness in who He is. The silence becomes sacred because it removes distractions and draws us closer to the heart of God. We begin to discover that His presence is enough, even before the promise arrives. We learn to find peace in Him rather than in our circumstances. Perhaps today, you feel like you are standing in a desert. Perhaps you are carrying prayers that seem unanswered. Perhaps you are fighting discouragement because the breakthrough has not come. If that is where you are, remember this: God has not forgotten you. Your prayers have not been ignored. Your tears have not been wasted. The God who sees the sparrow also sees you. The God who knows the number of stars also knows every detail of your life. Even in the silence, He is working. Even in the waiting, He is preparing. Even when you cannot feel His hand is still guiding your path.
So take a deep breath today.
Release the burden of trying to control what only God can control.
Trade your anxious striving for quiet surrender.
Let your restless heart find peace in the certainty that God's timing is perfect. The promise may still be unseen, but the one who made the promise remains faithful. The silence is not the end of your story. It is simply a chapter in the process. And one day, when you look back, you may discover that the season you feared most was actually the season that strengthened your faith the most. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep walking forward. God is not absent in your waiting. He is present in every moment of it. And when the appointed time arrives, you will see that every second of waiting was held securely in His loving hands.